debt, cause Christ paid the price, so who ready to give their life the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, died for the Israelites, blood of the Israelites, Christ for the Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, died for the Israelites, blood of the Israelites, Christ for the Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
I'm killing niggas, man. Word up, man. Those our elders. That crazy as hell out here on the street, man. Lessons getting killed every day, too.
The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got me cancer. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking back!
On your life, try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price.
All right. Let's get it in. Shalom, Israel, with ISUPK, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I'm Officer Kassar Fakad, 500. And this is the ISUPK Oakland. Starting off, I'm going to say Shalom, Yabashim Yahushai, Brakathum, to all the Akim, and Shalom, Shamar Atham, Bashim Yahushai, to all the Akwathim. All right, let's get it in, man. Let's go. It's Wednesday night law class. Are there any new callers on the line? Besides Itazah and young man Tully. All right. Can y'all brothers still hear me though on the line? Just checking in. All right, Most High Christ, let's get it in. All right, in the ISUPK, we are educating Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians about their true identity, their true heritage, which is comprised of the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. Once our people begin to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments in the Bible, God, or Yahweh in the Hebrew, will look down upon us and from heaven and have mercy on us. He will also send Christ to free us from our oppression. Using the Bible, the ISUPK will fix all the problems in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities, turning a lawless and immoral people into a righteous and law-abiding people. The true nationality of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Indians, and West Indians of North, Central, and South America are the true descendants of the lost 12 tribes of Israel. And Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shai Mashiach in the Hebrew, is their king. All right. Let's get it in. Before we get class going, are there any questions or comments a brother may have on the conference line? All right, no sweat. Tonight's topic, let's see, we're going to get into the Blue Lives Matter bill. This was a bill that was passed, I believe, around 2016, late 2016, maybe early 17. If a brother has a Google on their phone, can someone Google the Blue Lives Matter bill, Baba Kasha? If not, it's Tawab. I got some notes on it, but someone can really expound on it from online. That would be great as well. If someone gets it, just say Salagi. If not, I'm going to keep going. But basically, this Blue Lives Matter bill was passed around the time, okay, we'll go on the timeline. First, we had Trayvon Martin that was killed by George Zimmerman. He was a 17-year-old young man walking home at night, and there is this oppressor following him. They tried to say he's an Hispanic or he's a Latino because the world believes in this one drop rule that if your mother is Latino, if your mother is so-called Black or Negro, then you are that. But we know, according to the Bible, you're the seed of your father. And George Zimmerman, his father comes from Germany. That's where he descends from. So he is the seed of the devil. He is the seed of Edom. All right? And you can tell by his actions that that's exactly who he is. He was not a brother to Trayvon Martin. So this instance happened. Everyone knows the story. Police told him to stop following him. He still followed him. The young man turned around and whooped his ass, put hands on him, put them paws on him, as they say, and he pulled out his Glock and shot the boy in the chest, man, the young man in the chest, and ended his life. He had some Arizona tea and some Skittles. So after that, this is when this Black Lives Matter movement began to come about. And that's a whole other topic. We can go into that as well. Black Lives Matter arose, and then the next big one was Michael Brown in Ferguson. The young brother leaving the store, walking across the street. They say he was jaywalking or whatnot. Police tried to stop him. They said the brother had his hands up. There was countless witnesses. Said the brother had his hands up, and the police officer shot him dead in his chest. So this started the Ferguson riots, and that's when Black Lives Matter really started to get its steam. And so, yeah, to give a little background on Black Lives Matter, too, as well, for the brothers that don't know, this is not a movement that the UPK promotes, all right, because we know what it's about. Of course, we support Black lives, and we know that they matter. They've mattered to the UPK since 1969. They've mattered to the priests and prophets of the Bible since the days of Yahushua Mashiach. All right? Black lives and all, that means all the 12 tribes. Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian lives have always mattered to the priests and prophets of the Lord. So much that they've died and put their lives on the line for Black lives. And we continue in that tradition to this day. However, the actual movement, if you go to blacklivesmatter.com and go and see what they're about. I just read what the ISUPK is about on our website. We're about freeing our people from oppression, following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. On the Black Lives Matter website, what they're about is about, one, promoting and accepting all people of all black backgrounds, from whether you're gay, bisexual, transgender. They specifically say they want to put gay and trans people in the leadership of the Black Lives movement, Black Lives Matter movement. Black Lives Matter was actually started by 3, I believe, lesbians, or maybe 2 of them are lesbians and 1 of them is quote unquote straight. But if you look at the picture of them, they all look like some bull daggers, as they say back in the day, Salaki. All right? And so their whole entire mission is to, 1, uplift women and not put men in the forefront. They call it patriarchy, which the Bible is based on. Israel is a nation based on patriarchy. Patriarchy means your father is the head of the family. The sons carry on your father's name. Your son defines who the family is. That's something that is in the Bible. That's why we are the children of Israel. That was a man. His seed was passed down to his sons, the 12 sons. That's what developed this nation. The only way to get into this nation is to be born into this nation and be the son of Israel. If a daughter comes from a man that is an Israelite, she's an Israelite. If your son comes from a man that's an Israelite, he's an Israelite. This is just as simple as that. It doesn't matter about the mother. That's a matriarchy. All right? So they want to destroy patriarchy, as they say. They want to put women in leadership, homosexuals in leadership. All of these things is a feminist and gay movement masquerading as a Black Lives Matter movement. And they use this catchy hashtag BLM. They spray paint it, whatever, make signs. This is why we're starting to see our oppressor take on this movement and promote it so much, because it has nothing to do with really saving Black lives. All this marching, all this pleading and begging on your knees, asking for laws to be changed, holding hands with police, shooting basketball, seeing who's got a better jump shot with your local police officer playing PlayStation and Madden tournaments with little children, and you think that that means that they love you, that they won't murder you. Doing the next dance, doing the Watusi, or who knows, whatever new dance, the young black boy JB, whatever, all these dances they come up with, the old Millie Rock, cops out here, old Millie rocking, and you thinking that they love you. That's what Black Lives Matter is, and that's all you're going to keep seeing from it. Is more marching, more protests, more riots, more looting, more stopping the freeway. You can't get homes, traffic, all of these things. And the people on the streets, don't get me wrong, the majority of people have no idea or really even understand what's going on with the leaders of this movement. They're just what you would call pawns on this chessboard. The spirit, we don't want to kill the spirit behind the young black men that are out there enraged about what's going on with their people. We love them, we support them, we want to see them free as well. We just know the leadership behind what's causing this is not getting those young brothers where they really need to go. All right? But I'll fast forward back into this Blue Lives Matter bill. Then I believe sometime after that, there was Eric Garner, who was choked out in New York in a chokehold. The brother had asthma. He was just selling loose cigarettes, which is like a super misdemeanor crime. You know, it's something you should get a ticket for. I don't believe they should even take you into jail for selling loose cigarettes. It's not like he's selling narcotics. He's selling something that you can buy in a store. It's like somebody selling bottled water out of the store to turn a profit. You go buy 20 pack of waters at Costco and selling each one for $1. That's really what the brother was doing. Now we know if he was in the truth, he wouldn't be doing that, and maybe the brother would still be here, but he didn't deserve to die for that. All right, and so Eric Garner came about. Then we had it was like two back to back. You have Philando Castile, who got shot driving with his wife and his stepdaughter in the back seat. He telling the police officers he has a gun, it's registered. He works at the school with children. He was a good brother. He had a good reputation in his area, in his community, and was telling the officer he had a legal gun, firearm, and the officer still shot him and murdered him. And that's what we heard on the intro song of Captain Akkad's song, Prepare Slaughter. You hear the tears of the woman crying out, and the baby in the back, the young daughter, is saying, "Mama, don't cry." She doesn't really even understand what is going on. But as she gets older and she starts to understand what happened in front of her, that's going to stick with her for the rest of her life. That's a very traumatic instance. All right? And then a few days later, I believe it was Alton Sterling in Louisiana, where he was put in a chokehold and shot right on camera. And they're saying he had a firearm. I don't believe they even found a firearm. So that started more Black Lives Matter protests, more riots, more looting, the same cycle again. This was in the summer of July 2016. And after this, there was a man, his name was, I think it was Micah Wilson. He went into Dallas, Texas, and opened fire during one of these Black Lives Matter protests and killed 5 police officers. This brother was trained in the military. He had tactics. He had maneuvers. He was moving around as someone that knew what they were doing. More training than the police officers. This brother had been overseas to Iraq or Afghanistan. He actually been on the battlefield. And so he was moving tactical and was able to kill 5 police officers. That is a very scary thing for a police force. When you really think about that, that's why when they see 50 niggas in their mind, if they were to ever try to do anything like this is why, if anybody knows Tupac had a tattoo on his chest. It had an AK and 50 niggas underneath it. Does anybody know about this tattoo on the phone? Does anybody ever come across an interview with Tupac explain what that tattoo means?
Count on one time.
Can you explain it for me, bro?
That tattoo signified the strength and the power and the fear that they would have with just 50 niggas with them type of guns. Just 50 niggas with them AKs is like the scariest thing that you could ever see.
Right, man. Most High Christ to that brother, and Most High Christ to the spirit behind Tupac and what he was trying to convey. Now, we're not saying brothers go out there and pick up arms and go fight the oppressor, but you got to see the mindset behind them. What are we good at? We good at basketball, right? We good at football, right? We good at baseball, right? Well, brothers don't understand all these sports were created to get prepared for warfare. What do you think having somebody run a 4-4-4 is really about? If you got a grenade and you need to get to the other side of the field, or you got to throw something, that's brothers that's going to be doing that, weaving and dodging and moving like a cheetah. LeBron James running up the court, jumping over things. You don't think if LeBron James had an AK-47 in his hand, he wouldn't be a goddamn problem? Basketball, shooting, man. Shooting is shooting. If anybody's ever dealt with a gun, shooting is shooting. Don't get it twisted. Throwing a football is just like shooting a gun. Shooting a basketball is just like shooting a gun. You have to use alignment. You have to use, what is that called? Depth, precision. All right? All of these mechanics, muscle memory, all those things come into play. If these brothers are hell of a problem on a football field, what do you think Warren Sapp would be with an AK-47 in his hand? If LeBron James can dunk and play a basketball 1 on 15 white boys and still win, one LeBron James versus 15 white boys, what do you think one LeBron James and an AK-47 is going to do? All right? So this one brother took out 5 of their officers, and they never really approached him. They sent a robot in to kill this brother. So if you do the math, you got 50 brothers. 5 times 5, what is that? 250 people? Is my math correct? 5. If 50 brothers killed 5 people, that's 250 oppressors gone. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. 100 times 5 is 500 people. And that, you know, one brother's gonna get 10. Like I said, it's gonna be a LeBron out of there. Like, goddamn, this nigga really got 15 people. All right? But like I said, I'm not promoting going to war, but this is how the oppressor thinks. This is what he's thinking in his mind. You get 1,000 of these niggas, they kill 5 each. 5,000 people. Goddamn. 10,000 of us gone in a blink of an eye. All right? That is a problem. So after this happened, another brother, I believe in Louisiana, traveled to Texas and back and forth, and he killed 3 people around this time. So this is where they developed this law called Blue Lives Matter. We've been out here losing our lives since the 1600s, getting lynched, getting raped, getting murdered, castrated, etc., 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 burned alive, tarred and feathered, shot, suffocated, hanged, lynched for centuries. And we're coming and we're telling this oppressor to do something, pass a law to show that Black Lives Matter. Do something to stop these police officers from killing us. We're setting CVS's on fire, Targets in every damn zip code is getting set on fire. Ferguson, looting, rioting, marching, more marching, a little bit more marching. Take a break, back to more marching. Selma, holes in our feet, linking arms, singing "We Shall Overcome," and we're just saying, please, Mr. Boss Man, Mr. Oppressor, can you act like Black Lives Matter to you for one moment? And what do? Nothing. But it takes 5 officers in Dallas and another 3 in Texas to lose their lives, and within weeks, within months' time, there was a bill passed by Congress in the Senate for Blue Lives Matter. All right? Was anybody able to Google that over the phone? All right, it's no sweat. Like I said, I got some in my notes. I'll just break it down. Basically, the Blue Lives Matter, it's very vague. It's saying one of the words is perceive. If an officer has perceived danger from someone, they're able or perceived to have that someone's going to harm them, that person can serve up to 10 years in prison, mandatory. All right. So if you attack an officer, however they feel, you running too close to them, you spit in their direction, you sneeze. Now with coronavirus, anything is so vague that an officer could use this, a lawyer could use this, and prosecute you to the umpteenth degree, and get you 10 years mandatory, not including they can tack on a resisting arrest, an illegal firearm, assault charge, attempted murder, any of these things they can tack on to you to heighten the punishment for anybody that tries to harm a police officer. So clearly they can move into action. They can do things to protect their establishment, to protect white supremacy, but they don't care about your life. But there is a way out. Like they say in the infomercials, but wait, there's more. If you want to find a way out, we have a law that protects Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians from the oppressor. And that law, ladies and gentlemen, is in the Bible. This is why we read it over and over and over again. This is why we have a law class every Wednesday. You want to get to the root of the problem, it's these laws, statutes, and commandments. You want to get to the solution to the problem, it's the laws, statutes, and commandments. We're going to say it forward, we're going to say it backwards. They got the area code in Vallejo, 707. The rappers out there used to say, man, say it backwards. 707. 707. You know, however way you want to see it. The problem is we're not following these laws. The solution is to follow these laws. You say it backwards. All right? So, let's get into it. Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Romans chapter 13, verse 1. And we're going to explain some things to our people that some people may not want to hear. You have a warrior spirit, which is righteous, especially young brothers. That's why we love to see young brothers come into the truth, because they have a warrior spirit, a soldier spirit. That's why they join gangs. That's why we go into the military. That's why you beating your baby mama up. You understand me? Because you have a warrior spirit. You want to fight. You want to defend. You want to exude power. And you don't know how, so you shoot the brother across the street on the other side of town. You join into the oppressor's military and go fight against another nation that is not directly oppressing you at this time. You help protect your oppressor before you protect your community, because you have a soldier spirit, right? You fighting with your girl and your baby mama because you feel disrespected, and you can't fight against the oppressor that's one leading your woman to act in ways like this, and also in angering you in life through being oppressed, losing a job or not making enough money. That's why she's complaining to you. So that causes you to bring out that warrior spirit and want to fight against her, fight against your family members. But that energy could be used righteously. It's made to protect your nation. It's made to uplift your nation. Because what do they teach in quote unquote martial arts? That you should avoid a fight at all costs. But if someone corners you and you have to use the things you've been taught, use them and stop that threat. That's the same spirit behind a righteous man. We don't want to go out and attack anyone, but we will protect our house. We will protect our nation. And we will use everything that has been afforded us by the Lord the Most High, and the things that we have learned to protect our people and ourselves. All right. So in Romans 13:1, this is something the Christian church try to use to make us docile and submissive and effeminate. But this is really wisdom given to the children of Israel on how to deal with these oppressors and these police forces, or quote unquote overseers that are in our communities. At this time, it would be the Roman army. This is why we're in the book of Romans. People living in Rome, brothers living in Rome at this time. So this is the game they're trying to give them. Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. What does this mean? Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Seeing the police officers, you don't have to go out of your way to say, man, F the police, you pig, start oinking and they pulling you over. You want to, at that moment in time, you want to talk back and you want to stand up for yourselves. That's not the place. We're not saying don't stand up for yourself. This is why we go out to camp every week and speak against this oppression. That's the time to do that. If the officer is not handling his job correctly, take him to court. That is the time to speak up for yourself and fight against this evil bastard. But not in your car when he has a 40 caliber Glock on his hip and is ready to end your life. So be subject unto these powers. Also, it's saying that there is no power but of the Most High. This is a hard pill to swallow. We know these are some devils. We know that they're evil. We know all the wrongs they've done to us. But every now and then, amongst us, we need self-analyzation. We need to get into the mirror. We need to look at ourselves and see what we're doing wrong. So we're not going to take criticism from some goddamn Bill Cosby who's saying pull up your pants just to appease white people. We're not going to listen to some coon on Fox News telling us that we need to take care of our kids and this and that. But amongst ourselves, among righteous men that are really trying to build our brothers up, we can take criticism. We can take correction. Because we were taught not to look down on a brother unless we're trying to pull him up. And that's the correction that we're going to have to say. Why are we in these conditions? Yes, the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, but we're in this position because the Most High is punishing us for transgressing the law, statutes, and commandments initially. So that's where our correction comes in, where we can fix our flaws and our faults, which puts us in these positions. Don't ride around smoking weed in the car. Don't be smoking weed at all, period. Don't, what is it? Don't be out there selling loose cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Don't have, what is it? What was the thing the brother had? Counterfeit $20, $10 bills. Now we know these coons use these things to justify our murder. We know that the murders of these brothers was all wrong. But that little bit of protection of following the law, statutes, and commandments, not stealing or not drunk driving like Rayshard Brooks was doing, you know, being separate. Even Ahmaud Arbery, he didn't do anything wrong but jogging in his neighborhood. But if he really understood that the white man is the goddamn devil, he might have wanted to stay in his neighborhood, not be in this affluent area around these oppressors. Stay amongst his people. Just having that consciousness to always be aware of your surroundings and never letting your guard down and knowing who these people are. All right? So these little things could protect us by following these laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? And so Learning these things in the Bible, there's a way to navigate today, and there's an answer for every situation that arises in this empire, and you can find that in the Bible. And we have to know the difference between your enemy and your opposition. Your opposition in the ISUPK. Who is our opposition in the ISUPK? Anybody on the phone? Baba Kasha. Go ahead.
The devil that the Bible speaks about.
I'm gonna word it one more time quickly. There's a difference between your enemy and your opposition. So you know who the enemy is. You're correct on that. But all right, now I'm giving it away to you. But one more time, who do you think your opposition is?
Your oppressor?
La. That's your enemy. Your opposition in the ISUPK is yourself. You're fighting against yourself. The white man, the Edomites, they are our enemy. But you are your own opposition. An example could even be Neo in the Matrix. If anybody's seen that movie, if you can fight your doubt, your fear, your demons, you can do anything. All right? Our oppressor is here as a form of punishment when you lose that fight with yourself. One more time. The oppressor is here as a form of punishment when you lose that fight with yourself. When you fall into doing criminality, illegal things, even if, let's say, you're not selling cigarettes, like we said, that brother Ahmad Arbery wasn't doing anything wrong that we could see, still lost his life. But was the brother eating pork? Was the brother loving white women? Did the brother roll up a blunt that morning before he went jogging? Was he selling packs? Was he moving work? Was he pimping? Was he going to the strip clubs? Was he promoting the whoredom of our sisters? All right? Was he slapping his girlfriend up? We don't know. So the Lord will use these oppressors to punish us. We got to be blameless. We have to be blameless without sin to have that true protection. And Lord knows, not saying nothing bad can happen to a righteous man. If that was the case, then Yahushua wouldn't have been hung on the cross. So coming into the truth, we're not going to give you this free car pass to say that nothing will ever happen to you. But you also have to remember you were once upon a time a sinner as well. So we have to take everything with a grain of salt. And sometimes bad things happen to good people to uplift the truth, all right? But overall, we know our brothers and sisters in the world, the good majority of them are living the lives of sinners, all right? And so to protect ourselves from these devils and these demons, the first thing we need to do is battle ourselves and become better men, become better women, become better brothers to our brothers and better sisters to our sisters and better brothers to our sisters and better sisters to our brothers. All right? This is a nation of people. All right, so let's keep going. I'm going to go on down to verse 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnations. So you thinking, oh, I've been watching all this, the police pulled me over. Man, what the hell you pulling me over for? You punk police? Are y'all always messing with a black man? You always want to keep us down, man. I ain't showing you nothing. I ain't rolling down my window. You want to be a Moor and start pulling out section code -232 says I don't have to. Nigga, you about to get a billy club upside your head because you don't understand what these people are here for. All right? Go along with the situation. That's not being weak. That's not being a coward. That's actually being strong. If you're being righteous, you know you're not doing anything wrong. Look at this officer like a man in the world with a gun. That's something Captain Kapash taught in his class. 9 times out of 10, any other nigga that come up to you with a gun talking about put your hands up or do this or do that, you're gonna comply to live. But you think since you believe in your mind you're an American, you have a constitutional right, you have rights as a citizen, that this officer is gonna respect that. Nah, he is no different from an enemy, from a Crip on a cross town if you're a blood, or a blood from across town if you're a Crip. A Vice Lord versus a GD, MS-13. That is an MS-13 that hates your hood, putting a gun on you and saying, "Let me see your ID." And you want to talk about nigga? Forget all that. You's a sucker. You's a clown. You a sewer rat. You're you know what I mean? All of these things. You a slob. You a crab, and expect to live in that situation. No. Look at him like another man with a gun, and act accordingly, man. If you really want to fight, don't wait till the moment of them to come and attack you to start fighting. Put on all black, get your boots on, come out with these brothers and speak against this oppression before it hits your doorstep. Fight to wake up our people, to build up our own communities before you get pulled over by the cops. And if it does happen, take them to court. That's where you fight it, all right? So let's move on. Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. General Yohana says he doesn't have anything on his record. They pull him over. They can't even find a traffic ticket on General Yohana's record. He's been in the truth since the 80s. He came in as a young man in his life, and he's lived a life of a righteous man. The police aren't a terror to General Yohana. They're not a terror to the men in the truth, because I know the feeling before coming into the truth. I got gray hairs on my head as a young man, losing sleepless nights because I'm fearing the police are going to kick in my door and raid the house. Waking up out of dreams about the police kicking in my door for years. Driving down the highway, heart beating because an officer pulls behind me. But guess what? I was doing crime. I was living the life of a criminal. So I had a reason to fear the police. And guess what? They did kick in my door one day. All those dreams I had came true. They did pull AR-15s in my face and tell me to get on the ground, and took my ass to jail. But it wasn't because I was doing the work of the Lord. It's because my opposition, myself, put myself in this position to have this oppressor come and further put me into oppression. All right? And so now, coming into the truth, I see the police, it's not giving me gray hairs. It's not stressing me out. It's not raising my blood pressure. Because they're not a terror to good works. All right? But to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. Will you not be afraid of the power of the Most High? The power that Satan is giving these devils to orchestrate this whole situation, scenarios that we're seeing in America that's going on. Shouldn't that make you want to become a better man? And also, even of them, it says right here, and thou shalt have praise of the same. That the officers have even told General Yohana, General Muhammad, that if they had men like the soldiers in the UPK, they could have been ended drugs in the black community, quote unquote. But they're just amazed and give respect to our discipline and the way we carry ourselves, and that they're not hearing about all these things coming out of our group, that they're hearing about brothers that are in the world. And you would think if they truly cared about it, maybe they would give some money to us. All of this prison reform, all of this defund the police, and let's give funding to the community. Why don't they look at an organization that's been around since 1969 that has kept black men out of prison, kept black men off of drugs, kept black women out of the strip clubs and out of prostitution rings? And why don't they give some money to us so we can go and help more of our people? Because they really, truly don't want to help us, all right? But I digress. Let's keep going. For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. That's a tricky one right there. Let's see how a brother will break that one down. Shubaitazai, going on topic of what I'm saying, talking about the police, it says, for he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. Anybody take a shot on that and breaking that down? Anybody on the line, all right? For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. That's a little tricky one right there, but basically it's saying that this oppressor is actually working for the Lord, working for Satan, who works for the Lord, to thee for good. Seeing this brother lose his life with a knee on his neck, shouldn't that motivate you to at least put a blunt down, to stop sinning, to say, okay, man, these brothers over here haven't had any knees on their necks, haven't had any Alton Sterlings, any Michael Browns, and that's just dealing with the oppressor, not including all the brothers that lose their lives to other brothers. How many brothers getting shot down in Chicago by other black men? How many Mexican brothers in Juarez are getting killed by other Mexican brothers? In the penitentiaries getting stabbed. These brothers are avoiding these situations. Maybe I can not blame everyone else and see my culpability in this situation and battle my opposition, which is myself, and become a better man. All right? And so that's why it says, for he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. You should be scared when those red, blue, and white lights get behind you. You should be afraid. Jogging through this oppressor's neighborhood, you should have fear because the Lord is not with you. The angels don't have to protect you. It doesn't mean the Lord can't protect brothers in the world, sisters in the world. Every brother has a story. You just don't know when your time is up. And when you run out of those get out of jail free cards, or the Lord quit sending angels to you and lets that sin catch up to you. But being in the truth, you know the angel's with you, the Lord's with you, and you don't have to be afraid. But one more time. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain, for he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. That's a hard pill to swallow. Black Lives Matter don't want to hear that. You know, they're going to say, you're using these Republican talking points. You're using these right-wing talking points where they use this to justify them murdering us. We know good and goddamn well that we would die for our brothers and sisters in these streets. So that's not what we're saying. But amongst us, in the house, brother to brother, hermano to hermano, real nigga to real nigga, hey, you is selling dope, man. You did just buy a key from somebody. You did just hit the block and try to get that molly off. You know what I'm saying? Knock that shit off, Salaki. Knock it off, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't give these devils an excuse to do this to you. And don't think so high-minded of yourself that you can sell drugs and crack and cocaine and methamphetamines to your community and destroy someone else's life, but then a police can't put a bullet in your head? You too good to die too? When you're living like a wicked bastard and an animal as well? It doesn't work like that, man. Clean up your house first. Clean up your house before you go out and talk about what's going on in these other places. And then you will be righteous in every way. In every way. Because what you're saying is true. That devil shouldn't have killed this brother. And you're living it. They damn sure shouldn't put their hands on you. All right? And the Lord be with you. All right, let's keep going. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. So don't just do the right thing because you scared of the police. That's a sucker mentality as well. It's like, oh man, if I could get away with it, if I could sell dope and not go to jail, I would do it. Don't just do the right thing because you're scared of the police, you're scared of going to prison, you're scared of walking the yard. Do the right thing for your conscience sake, because you know it's wrong to see a sister smoke crack while she's pregnant, smoke meth while she's pregnant, pop mollies while she's pregnant, and destroy her seed. Babies coming out with all types of issues and mental problems because of something you did. All right? So there's for every story of a nigga that got shot or went to jail, there's another nigga that didn't get caught. There's another brother that got away with his crimes. But the Lord sees that. The angel sees that. And guess who else sees it? That mother that was using that drug sees it. Their son that lost their PlayStation and Xbox because their father sold it to buy drugs, he sees it as well. He sees the sin that you've done. He's a victim of your sin. He's a victim of your crime. All right? So you didn't get away with it. So let's see. All right. So I think that's about it. I'm going to drop down to verse 8. We're going to go through verse 8 through 10 really quickly. I'm going to read through these real quickly. Owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. You loving your brother, you not willing to do these things to get personal gain, that's following the law as well. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, if there's anything on a list that we didn't say here, you can sum it up with this. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. If you are thinking righteously and not this homosexual love where everybody is holding hands and praying together, that real love, that love that tells you, man, put that cigarette down. You know what I'm saying? Don't put your hand on your woman ever again. Have self-control. That's just giving her power anyway. Learn how to use your mouth to get her to shut up. Learn how to have discipline and walk away. Go stay with another brother. You know, I heard a story about a brother said he was out of state, in another state, visiting his woman, and she tried to put him out and put him on the street thinking that's going to do something. He called up the brothers in the UPK. Hey, man. They said, oh, yeah, come on over here, man. We'll come pick you up. You come stay over here for a couple nights. Cool down. It's TUE-FRI. We got brothers all over to prevent you from having these situations that normally in the world cause you to do things. That's why brothers losing their house, mama getting evicted. You think I'm going to sell dope. My kids need diapers. You're going to do something wrong to try to do something right. But with this brotherhood that's been created, you're not going to go homeless. Your children won't go hungry, won't starve. You have a safety net which prevents you from doing wrong. And that's because thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfilling the law. Having brotherhood is fulfilling the law. Everything will come in line once you're able to do that. All right. So does anybody have any comments they want to chime in? Go ahead. Feel free. I'm going to pull up these next few precepts and we're going to roll on through. But that's something on my mind. The brother also brought up sidebar, still on topic. These oppressors have been going around. We know lynching brothers. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a thou wow, man. These brothers are not hanging themselves in LA area, in Southern California. I believe two in Southern California. Another one, he said, an Iscarite Mexican brother in Texas hanging from a tree. They just said another one in New York area hanging from a tree. We know this is not our MO. It's not our makeup. It's not our characteristics. I made a joke talking on Facebook saying, like, in the history of niggerdom, it's been 3 so-called black men that have hung themselves. 2 of them was in prison, didn't have no other way around it, probably snitched on some people and knew they was going to get killed, so they try to hang themselves because they can't cut themselves. And the other person was a so-called brother that grew up around white people, listened to gothic music, painting his nails, eyeliner on his face, and got depressed and hung himself. And the cold part about it is that third one probably had an Edomite father and wasn't really even an Israelite. So it's probably only 2 niggas in the history of niggerdom that ever hung themselves, man. And all of a sudden in 1 week we got 4. Knock it off, man. We know these white supremacists, suspected white supremacists or alleged white supremacists are going around doing the work of Satan and going to war against our people. What is it called? Is it called unilateral warfare? I desire. What would you call that? What type of warfare is that? They're going across and they're basically taking us out in covert operations. You know, catching a brother slipping and setting it up to seem like he's committing suicide. And I have a suspicion because they're all what was that called?
I really couldn't say.
Okay. Well, I know I've been trying to use one of those terms, but you know, like they say, they're using some type of covert warfare. You know, they're coming across us and lynching these brothers. And like I said, my suspicion, since all of them are being deemed as suicide immediately, that it's the police that are doing this. That's who's doing it. Because they're getting away scot-free, no cameras around, no witnesses, no one to really say what happened. It's like the perfect crime. You know, there's no sloppiness to it. They're having these hit squads among the police.
That probably has a lot to do with it.
What was that?
I said that probably has a lot to do with it.
Right. You know it. And that's what, if you know your enemy, you know that's the type of things that the only person that would be able to get away with this would be the police officers. All right? And so that's something that, like we said, man, we don't, it's a horrible thing to see. It's a horrible thing to witness. It hurts my soul, man.
Salaki, if I may.
Go ahead.
That sounds like that incident back in the days where the Oakland police officers was kidnapping brothers and taking them to enemy territories and dropping them off and taking them up to the hill. It ain't no telling if they murdered a brother or not, because none of that came out. But at the same time, they was kidnapping brothers in East Oakland and dropping them off in areas where they knew they wouldn't be welcome and whatnot, and wishing, you know, hoping brothers would do harm to them and everything. So that sounds definitely doable. That a police will put you in the back of his car, you thinking you going to the station, and now you hanging from a tree.
Right. And the people that's got to investigate the murder is the people that killed you. That's the perfect crime. And so, yeah, we know that's true. Even when you bring that up, it's a documentary called Bastards of the Party, talking about how the Bloods and Crips got started in L.A. with the Black Panthers or whatnot. And when you got to the 90s, the 1992 riots happened. After that, there was a truce between those enemy hoods in L.A. And years later, two brothers that were from enemy hoods winded up getting put in the same cell together, which usually never happens. They usually segregate them immediately. But they got in there and they got to talking, and you know, they really about to get into it. And the brother was like, yeah, man, after the truce happened, you came over to my hood and shot it up and started the war over again. I thought we were supposed to be cool. And that brother's thinking back, he's like, man, I never went and shot up your hood. And he's thinking about the day, and with them talking, he was like, yeah, I got arrested that day. And the only people that had my car were the police. So the police took his car and went to their neighborhood and shot it up and started this war over again. So like you said, they may have not came out with any of those bodies in Oakland, but we know 100 people was getting killed in Oakland every year for a long time. Is it completely impossible to think that 10 of those were done by the police? 15? You know what I'm saying? Who's telling? So it's definitely something that the devil would do. All right. But if anybody else got something to say, feel free. Most High in Christ. I'm going to go to this next scripture. And for time's sake, can somebody give me a time check? No, I get long-winded, Salakia. So I got to make these classes go.
Salakia, 8:12.
8:12. Yeah, a little jokey joke for my brother last night. I ain't going to cut y'all brothers off. Kabadabon said, I think he got us on mute. I said, man, you can only mute your phone. You can't mute us.
Right. He was working with something special. That's that agent shit.
Oh, man, huh? Maybe, right. You never know, huh? But, you know, that's jokey joke for the brother. We know he's a good brother. Something did happen, but that was too funny, man. I said, Salakia. And you said Salakia. I'm like, I can hear you. You can hear me. That brother said, if you want to be a trooper, get it all black. Black boots.
Hey, I think who else? Imawan was on there too.
Right. Well, Most High Christ, man. But yeah, man, like I said, we keep this class rolling. Let's go on to Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. Oh yeah, can I get a time check though, Baba Kashah, somebody?
8:14 now, sir.
8:14? Okay, Most High Christ. Got about 15 more minutes. So, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Kabbalah, take a shot at that one. Baba Kashah. I'll read it one more time. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
So, like, sir, my phone call has started telling me. So you said when a man ways pleases the Lord, even his enemies will be at peace with him.
Right.
That's saying when a man is doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying? When brothers, i.e., when we go out to camp and we call the police all out. As we speaking to the people, we let them know that the police are killing people, they murdering, and they doing it, and then they look at us and they say, we know y'all brothers don't commit crimes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We know y'all don't commit crimes. We know that y'all come out here, y'all say what y'all want to say, but what you saying is of the Lord, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The things that you were bringing out is of the Lord. Y'all ain't telling nobody to go do nothing wicked. You just point out the wicked.
Right.
Which is, you know, and then they understand for us to be at a store cashing fake 20s is not going to happen.
Right.
For us to be selling loosies, like you said, is not going to happen. For us to be selling weed, when you pull us over, you're going to get an ID, and they respect us for it. They love us for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't going to say they love us because we're still black.
I know what you're saying.
But at the same time, you can't do nothing to us.
Mm-hmm.
We law-abiding citizens.
And the cold part about it is, like you said, not love us, respect us, but it actually, you know, probably makes them more angry because they can't beat you for what they normally would. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's like you know, like pulling the garlic out in the vampire movies or whatever. You know, silver bullet. They're like, I can't. I was about to get it on, but this brother got garlic and he in the truth. You know what I'm saying? The light didn't shine on me, man. I gotta go. Let me get out of here. You know? But yeah, Most High Christ,
right.
that's an excellent breakdown. I'll just add on to it, even amongst our own communities as too, you know, the enemies in our own communities. You thinking that this brother from the other side of town, you was in a gang and all of that, you thinking that it's gonna come back upon you or it's never gonna be settled. But they might see you and you in your UPK attire, you got shields on, you got your headpiece on, they see you doing something different. The Lord may put a spirit on them to give you that pass and really respect what you're about. And so, and even on top of that too, you never know, the Lord may put them to death. They might get put to death for trying to harm you. So that's that right there, man. Even your enemy will be at peace. Go ahead.
This is a cold tale right here, man. It was about a brother that I was knowing in the world and everything, and we was still brothers and everything. And then the brother, he just thought he was like the hardest of the hardest of the, like, could do nothing to the brother. One day, you know what I mean? I'm at his house. The story might get long, but I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
but it's an actual story.
Go ahead.
So the brother, we at his house one day, and then I got a cousin, you know, who's affiliated with the PD, and he wanted some other shit. He wanted some other salak and some other stuff.
Right.
So he got the other stuff from the brother, and then the brother's charged him this price and woo woo. So he gave him this. Then he went in his pocket and took money out of his pocket. So bottom line, the brother popping off like he hard, but I watched him be a sucker. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Then when he called me, he started talking crazy. But I was like, okay, well this just happened to you. So he comes over to my house and all these things. He declared war on me, against me. You know what I mean?
Right.
He declared war. When I see you, the next time I see you, we getting it on. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. I mean, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? And hey, he tried the same thing with some brothers up the block who wasn't in the truth like me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna throw hands with the brother. I had no intentions on killing the brother. But I mean, if I saw him and that's what he wanted to do, and I couldn't talk him out of it, that's what was gonna happen. Bottom line.
Right.
But these other brothers, they started throwing hands, and I promise you, 3 weeks later, the brother was already snuffed, and I was sitting here like, man, I wanted to put hands on him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't wish the brother to be dead because I wanted to chuck him with him. You know what I mean?
Good night.
But I was sitting there thinking like, man, the Most High saw through the soul. He couldn't just keep doing what he was doing. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
like I said, that's crazy. And it still be on my mind. Like you said, sometimes the Most High take care of stuff because he showed up at my house and I was at work and my damn kids was here. He showed up at my house wanting to scrap. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like,
man.
okay, well, I look at like, you know, I don't wish nothing on no brother, but the Most High, I was like, well, the Most High took care of that one, man.
Right. That's a real story, man, and you know it's true, man, and it happened to other brothers as well. So that's how you know that's how the Lord works. We always think that you gotta handle things yourself. That's what you was raised in the streets. But once you see that this is a spiritual battle, there's things that you don't see that's going on all around you. And like you said, you might have came home a little bit early that day, or you could have been over this situation and something had you over here and you don't know why, you know what I mean? And that's how the Lord works. And you get stuck at a traffic light and now you didn't meet that brother and this brother went along and something else happened to him. Like you said, we don't wish that on no brother, but the Lord is the one that determines everyone's life. And so if that's how he was coming at you, Lord knows what he was doing else in his life. You know what I mean? But you definitely don't want to mess with the Lord's anointed. All right. So let's see. I got a couple more and we'll close out the class. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18 through 21. Really quickly. This is another important scripture. When I first came into the truth, this was broken down to me in class from one of the brothers in Texas, and this one always stuck with me. It's a good one to have in your precept book. Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. So if there is someone around you and they live an evil life, even if it's just eating pork, eating shrimp, eating crab and lobster, you know they're Israelite. You're not telling them the truth. And then they go and die in their iniquity, and you didn't warn them, that blood is on your hands. That's like, you know, that's real black right there. Anybody grew up in a black household, you're going out with your brothers and sisters and something happened, everybody's getting in trouble, even if it wasn't you that directly did the thing that was wrong. That's how the Lord is looking at the children of Israel, that you are responsible for your brothers and sisters' lives, even if it's them that's doing wrong. And so, what's the example that I'm thinking of? That Salakia. How does it work? It's saying here, right here, you do not warn them from their wicked way to save his life. The same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at thine hand. In that movie Baby Boy, that's the example I think of. The brother, he's living in the house with his mom, and she's trying to kick him out because she got a new boyfriend. And he's saying, you're going to send me out to the street just like you sent my older brother out in the street, and he got killed. He was like, you killed him. You know what I'm saying? You put him in that position to get killed. He would have been alive if he would have stayed at home. And so he's saying that blood is on her hands for leading up to that situation. So that's how the Lord really looks at us in a righteous way, that you could have saved this young man's life. You could have saved this sister's life, but you didn't do the job of a priest and prophet knowing the truth. And now this person has lost their life. Their blood is on your hands. All right. Verse 19. Yet, if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity. But thou hast delivered thy soul. So you did tell this brother the truth. You did tell him what's going on, man. You go and rob that bank tomorrow. You about to go pick up this pack and drive it across country. And now what happens to him happens. Now you in the clear. Verse 20. Again, when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness, righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. So that right there is like a brother in the truth that's been living righteous. But then he starts talking to you and saying, well, you know, I've been doing this or I've been doing that and I'm struggling with this, and you're not giving him that correction. You want to be friends, you want to be Barney, you know, and I love you, you love me, instead of really giving that brother that checking he might need, or giving him that correction, or taking him to counsel. And now he's fallen into sin. All that righteousness he did is not going to save him. It doesn't matter, the Lord's saying. So when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered. All of those good things that you did, the Lord is not going to remember. But his blood I will require at thine hand. Verse 21, nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man, that the righteous sin not, and he doth not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also, thou hast delivered thy soul. So not only did you save this brother's life, but you also saved yourself from the responsibility over this brother's life. And General Muhammad brought that out in a class I was watching a couple of days ago, saying that, man, if some brother's doing something in your area and you don't say something, that's on you too. That's a reflection on you too. And you will be held accountable in the ISUPK as well. All right, so I think I'm done with that part. I got one more in Ezekiel, and then maybe one or two more real quickly, and we'll close out the class. Ezekiel 33, chapter 33, verse 11. Good night. I got a couple of verses here. I'll try to get straight to the point. Let me see. This is something that, on the topic of saying, the Kabbalah kind of just brought this out here. So this scripture is perfect for that, because you can tell the spirit behind what Kabbalah was saying about that brother that was trying to start problems with you. Or when we see these brothers in the world that we say, you shouldn't be selling Lucy cigarettes. You shouldn't be, riding around with dope or trying to run away from the police and pulling a taser out on them. You shouldn't be doing that. And since you got put to death, that's not something we glorify in. We're not bragging. We don't want to be like a female, like a broad, and say, I told you, nigga. I told that. That doesn't make us feel good to see a brother lose his life. And that doesn't make the Lord feel good as well. So Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 11, say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord, your power, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked. One more time, say unto them, as I live with my life, saith Yahweh, the Most High, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. That's what brings pleasure to the Lord, to see a brother change his life, to become better, to help out his people. That is what the Lord wants to see. He is a good father, showing mercy unto generations, to thousands of generations for a righteous man. The Lord wants to see his people prosper and live well. It doesn't make the Lord feel good to see this brother get a knee put on his neck, or Ahmaud Arbery get shot in a backward country road. None of that is what the Lord wants to see. All right? And that's the same spirit we have in the UPK. We hate seeing this situation. That's why we warn our people as we're supposed to do. Because what's the scripture? I don't have the precept on hand, but it says that the angels rejoice when one sinner turns from sin or comes into the truth. Paraphrasing. All right? So turn ye from your evil ways. For why will ye die, O house of Israel? Therefore the Son of Man say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. That's it again. All the good things you've done don't mean anything when you fall again into sin. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness. So a brother's been wicked his whole life. You thinking you've been in the truth for 20 years. You've been solid, you've been Tawab, and then all of a sudden you fall into this realm of sin. All that stuff is null and void. You at nil, as they say in tennis or whatever, soccer. That's nil, is nothing to the Lord. And this brother that's been a sinner them same 20 years, he did everything under the sun wrong. But he turned away. He is accepted by the Lord the same way the Lord turns away from that righteous man. All right? Let's see. He shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness, neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sinneth. When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust in his own righteousness and commit iniquity, all his righteousness shall not be remembered. But for his iniquity that he hath committed, he shall surely die for it. Again, when I say unto the wicked, Salaki, thou shalt surely die if he turn from his sin and do that which is lawful and right. Let's see, I'm going to drop down and go to the last part. Verse is kind of saying repetitive right here. Verse 19. But if the wicked turn from the wickedness and do that which is lawful and right, he shall live thereby. Yes, yet ye say, the way of the Lord is not equal. O ye house of Israel, I will judge you, everyone after his ways. So it's like, you know, that good sibling, the one, you know, in the movie Soul Food, the sister that got the degree, that's going to school, become a lawyer, got her household, she's doing everything right. But then she's on the side hating on her sisters and sleeping with somebody else or doing something wrong. She thinking all that good things she did going to school and getting 4.0 makes her Tawab. And the other sister that's been in the streets and, you know, dealing with thugs and husband going to jail, they thinking that she is wrong. But the Lord saying, I will make the judgment on what I'm going to do with my people based on what they've done, not based on all of this past. Okay, you had a good run, you get the pass for doing a little wrong, and oh, you've had a bad run, and I'm not gonna welcome you in because now you changed and turned the leaf. Now the Lord is gonna welcome you in for doing right, and He will turn you right back around the moment you decide to do wrong. All right, so that's it on that one, and I think I got one more. If anybody got any comments, go ahead, feel free as well. Matthew 5:25. What's this one say? No, I'm not going to do that one. And I don't think I'm going to do that one. So I'll just bring a precept for that one. And that'll be it. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 14 is also a precept that goes with that last scripture in Ezekiel. And it says, no, not Jeremiah 2 and 14. Salaki, Isaiah chapter 64 and 6, I believe. Isaiah 64 and 6. It's another bedrock scripture to always keep ourselves in check and keep ourselves, you know, humble and not become self-righteous. Isaiah chapter 64, verse 6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousnesses are as filthy rags. That's a big scripture right there. That don't ever think that you're too good for anything. That's the spirit of a Christian. That is the definition of the spirit of a Christian. That I'm in the truth. I don't eat pork. I don't do this with the other nations. I don't sell dope. You know, forget these niggas in Oakland. Forget these niggas in Compton and Sacramento. You know, they ain't nothing, man. I ain't got nothing to do with them. I ain't gonna help them out. You know, I read them a scripture, they didn't listen, forget them. That's how Christians think. That's how fake Israelites think. Oh, you wicked. You 2/3. Because I read you a John 3:16 breakdown and you didn't accept the ISUPK. You didn't come into the school. Now it's F your life. F your mama, F your kids, forget everybody. Nah, man, that's not the spirit you want to have. Because I highly doubt any brother in the school heard the truth one time and the next day became a new man. It took time. Lord worked with you, and you slowly had to shed yourself of the world, as we say in our announcements, and become a new man. So give these brothers in the world they space and opportunity to change and grow, because you giving the warning, the Lord might really show them in their life through example of why what you said was right. All right, and that's another thing in your relationships. A lot of brothers can learn. I had to learn in my life, dealing with a female at one point in time and seeing as time went on, the things that I was telling her at this time we arguing about, and then a few years down the line she's saying Salakia or sorry, you was right at that time a couple years ago, and my bad for doing this or doing that. And you see them grow. Same with your children that you see growing up. I know I did it as a young man. In high school, you say stupid things to your parents. You disrespectful. You don't understand the situations of what they're telling you. And then you get a little bit older. You turn 24, 25, and you tell your parents, you know, Salakia or sorry, you was right, Mom. You was right, Pops. And everything you was telling me was right. I was hard-headed. I didn't want to listen. And you grow. So have that spirit with your brothers and sisters in the world. And just because you just sat there and read the Bible to them, don't expect them to all of a sudden tomorrow wake up and say, "Oh, Kwam Yashala, Shalom Yabashim Yashala, you know, and want to be UPK'd out the next day. All right. So anybody say Salagia has something to say?
Salaki, I got something to say real quick. If you want to expound on something and read, brother, I was just looking on FB. The brother brought out Exodus 21, 20, and 21, where it says, and his question is, the Bible says that a man can beat his slave as long as he don't kill him.
Okay. You want to get on to that one? Okay, that's one they're trying to battle with and something like that?
That's one of these sun worshiping niggas, you know.
Right.
He Amun Ra.
Right.
Nigga.
Okay. Yeah, I got something for that too. So let's go to it right now. It's Exodus chapter 21 and 20.
20 through 21, yeah.
Yeah, 21, 20 through 21. And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. So right there, what is it saying? For one, certain translations, this is why we stick to the King James version of the Bible, they're saying he said slave. Here it says servant. All right? And so the Lord is telling you, you have people that are working for you. This ain't no American mind state. You don't think brothers was getting to scrapping and you know, getting into altercations the same way our people do today? Somebody that's working for you and they get to talking crazy and don't want to do this and don't want to do that. Brothers get to fighting and scrapping and putting hands on each other. But that doesn't mean that's what the Lord wants. That's why this law is right here. It's saying that if any man smite his servant or his maid with a rod and he die under his hand, he shall surely be punished. You can't do that. Right. You can't treat this brother like this because he's under you. It's actually checking the brother and saying the Lord is telling our people not to do this with our people. It's because somebody who's working underneath you, you don't have to treat him like that and beat him up. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, even if you do want to say they're talking about slavery, because we do say our oppressors will go into slavery under the children of Israel. For one, when you look at it as the mind state of this Bible is our book, those Kemet cats are trying to say that's a white man. Don't they show you a white man beating a black slave in the picture? If I don't know if you got a picture, I've seen that post. It's like a white man.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one with the slave tied up and shit.
Right. So even under that understanding, the Bible is written from our perspective. That would be an Israelite hitting a white man on the back.
Hitting a white man, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so even under that, the Lord is still trying to be show mercy and justice. We're not just going to be abusing these Edomites and these devils for no reason. If the order comes out to put them to death, and that's what it will be, for them doing something that's worthy of death. But it's not just to be going around and being like them and abusing them and hurting them and punishing them and torturing them just because you had a bad day or you lost a damn bet at the boat or at the casino. You went to San Pablo and lost $500. You come home, you want to start beating on your Edomite just because. That's not what the Lord is saying, man. You don't beat this devil to death because you had a bad day. You know what I mean? So that's why they say, what's the precept for that? Proverbs, is it 11 and 21? What we got? Proverbs 11 and 21. No, what's it? Proverbs 29 and 2 then, I believe. Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. We're going to be righteous with our leadership. What did the white man do to us in slavery? Rape our women, rape our children, rape men. That is against the law, man. We're not raping any Edomite women. We're not raping any children. We definitely not raping no goddamn men. You know what I'm saying? So when they hear slavery, they think of what those people have done to us and automatically think that's what we're saying. No, you are going to work and pay off your debt for what you've done to our people. You get out of line. You try to revolt and start putting us back into slavery, because that's what a revolt means. Then yeah, you're going to get put to death. Or you was a wicked man in this kingdom doing this, that, and the third, you're going to get put to death. Yahweh Shai is going to make that order. But everything will be done in decency and order. It's not going to be, oh man, my wife talking crazy, let me go ahead and beat my servant to death, man. Nah, you're going to get punished for that as well. So you can take it either way you goes. One, it doesn't say slave specifically, it says servant. So that could be a man amongst your nation and it's trying to correct you to not deal with these brothers this way. Or if you do want to take it as a slave, it's still us being a slave master over them, because this book is about Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. That's to the children of Israel, telling us how to deal with our slaves, which will be other nations. All right? So that's pretty much that.
God.
Yeah. And even you can go down to verse 26 and 7 in Exodus as well. It says, and if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. So that's also setting the parameters. You beating this person so bad they lose their eye, the government of Israel is gonna tell you lost the servant. They don't have to work for you no more. Or if that was a slave, then you're not gonna have him no more. So you're gonna want to not do these type of things to keep your money going. You know what I'm saying? If you're really a businessman, why would you be treating your people like this? You know, in verse 27, and if he smite out his manservant's tooth or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. So even that, man, like our oppressors were cutting off our fingers, cutting off our feet in roots. You know what I'm saying? They're castrating brothers, doing all types of things to us to keep us in line. And this Bible is saying if somebody loses a tooth, you're gonna lose that servant. So that is a way different standard compared to what the oppressor did to us, man. So they can't even put this in the same category as the slavery as what the white man did. All right.
Salakia, if I may.
Go ahead.
Wasn't the thing? Didn't George Washington knock his slave out that wasn't even loose to make him some dentures?
Yeah. Oh, wait, I forgot about that story. Good night.
Right. To make him some dentures of his own, he took the teeth from his slaves, and they wasn't even loose. So imagine that.
Right. And he, like you said, the brother didn't.
He knocked out.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, it's a lie. Yeah, the brother didn't do nothing wrong, didn't run away or nothing. He just said, "Oh man, I need a foot. Give me yours, nigga." You know what I'm saying? I need some teeth.
Right.
Let me take yours. You don't need them. You know what I'm saying? So shows you the wickedness and evil that these people were. So that's another one. I seen my homeboy post that post too, man. I really wanted to get into it. I didn't even go on it on Facebook, but I'm glad you brought that out because they try to use those.
I'm gonna get on their helmet in a hot second.
Right.
So I'm gonna get in their helmet.
Right. You can always say Proverbs 29:2 as well. When the righteous are in leadership, the people rejoice. You know what I mean? That's a good one.
Right.
We ain't raping no women, no children with our captives. You hear? Go ahead.
I was the one. I was just listening in. What about that scripture that say, "Happy shall they be when we smash their baby heads up against the rock"? Oh
yeah, man. That's got to be for a reason. You got to really think.
I pulled that out on Edomite partner. One of my the story I was telling y'all earlier about the police officer who was kidnapping. I went to school with one of them cats. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I pulled that. And then I pulled that out on his ass a couple weeks ago and shit to let him know that the Most High said he gonna be happy when, the brother's gonna be happy when they get to bash your goddamn kids head up against the wall, up against the stone. You know what I mean?
Right. And so,
if I'm mistaken, it don't rightfully say that Most High is the happy shall he be, which I think that's the brother's doing the work, or is that the Most High?
You can take it both ways. That's a good question.
Right,
I'm going to take it as the person that's doing it, but the Lord is going to be happy if he has you doing it. So I think it's both. But I will say this right here. You got to understand the difference between that moment and having them in captivity and being in slavery. This is getting them to get into slavery. So the only thing I can think of, especially going through these situations, is we know World War III is coming, and we see how these oppressors are acting now on camera. We are so docile and wanting to forgive these people that we're not really seeing how evil these people would be without any sense of society, rules, and laws. That this devil didn't just cut off the heads of 5,000 babies. You understand me? And now you done caught up to him, and okay, yeah, all right, you're going to have to see what this is like. You understand me? We didn't want to come to do this, but you just didn't murder and rape, you know what I'm saying, 5,000 babies and little kids, and all right, now your kid got to go because he's going to do the same thing you was going to do. But once they get in line and they into captivity, ain't none of that going to be going on because they're going to be working on the fields and, you ain't got to be doing that every day. You know what I mean? They in line now. Anybody want to get out of line and start again, okay, we're going to start again. But as far as you working, like I said, that scripture in Exodus is talking about you went to war, you brought back captives, and the war is over. That scripture about smashing them babies against a stone is during war. That's when it's on. You become hunters. And we actually bring in justice because of all the crimes they committed. You know what I mean? So that's what I'll say on that.
It's a lucky brother, man.
Go ahead.
Twofold. Hey, I'm gonna want to say when the day come, that war come, he ain't taking no lunch.
I feel him.
Hey, but then to go back on what you were saying, that Exodus 20 that 21 and 20, that's telling you the penalties of a man who harms his damn slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's pretty much bringing out the penalties you're going to have to face.
And like I said, it really says servant. So it could be an Israelite brother that's working for you. Don't forget that part. You know what I'm saying? A brother could owe you some money. And, you know what I mean? A brother owe you some money, and you say, come work it off for 2 years, 3 years. Because it talks about freeing the servants every 7 years in a year of Jubilee. So I really think that scripture is talking about an Israelite brother of your same nation.
Yeah.
It's not even talking about slaves.
And if you're such a wicked person that you beat his back, you know what I mean? And you don't love your brother, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you would do that type of thing to your brother, then that's what exactly. All right.
Right.
Like I thought we weren't gonna have our own people in slavery.
What you say?
I said, like you said, they were doing servant work. They paying off debt and stuff.
Right. That servant is not. It doesn't say the word slave in Exodus. It says servant. So, and I got another one. Well, I look for the book of Jubilee real quick, the year of Jubilee, where it says you free your own people. There's different laws amongst the people of other nations and the people of your nation too in here. So if I can't find it really quickly, let me see. So that's something you gotta know. That let me see. Thou shalt not have false report. Thou shalt loss about property. Ooh-wee.
Hey, Salakia, so when the Israelites was going to...
So I go ahead.
Okay, so when the Israelites was going around going to war with all the other nations and the Most High would make it decree to spare nobody in the city, that wasn't them doing battle with other Israelites, right?
You said if they do what? Not spare yet. Nah, that was never said. Then the one story it was about the tribe of Benjamin. I believe they let one of the brothers rape a sister, and they cut up the sister's body and sent it to the 12 tribes, and they were gonna wipe out the tribe of Benjamin. But they spared some of them brothers. That's why we have Benjamites to this day. And
so you remember the story where the brother had took something from the other nations where they had went to war. The Most High told them to kill everything.
Right.
Do not take any of the spoils. Do not take any of the spoils from this nation. So that wasn't an Israelite nation that they were doing battle with.
Yeah, that was a heathen nation.
And he said put everybody to sleep, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I know I'm gonna find this real quickly. Looking. I'm gonna look up in the Zondervan. 1 second, cause that's a good thing to know. Yeah, you gotta be sharp on this, cause that's how our enemies try to come up against us, man, and use little things like that. So that's good to sharpen up my sword right now. I'm gonna look up the word Jubilee if I can find it in the Zondervan. Jubilee. Ran us on Leviticus 25. So we go to Leviticus in the 25th chapter. And we'll go. All right. Severus, I'll go for the grace and salvation. Right, here it goes right here. So Leviticus chapter 25, verse 25. If thy brother be waxen poor and hath sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then he shall redeem it, that which his brother sold. Okay, that's part of it. Let me see. Restore him from manslaughter to the house. Salaki. Oh, here goes. Verse 39, Salaki. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bond servant, but as an hired servant and as a sojourner. He shall be with thee, and he shall serve unto thee the year of Jubilee. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. So it's saying right here, if a brother then got poor, don't have any money, he can be seen to you as a servant, not as a bond servant or a slave. And he is, as verse 40, but as a hired servant and as a sojourner, he shall be with thee and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. So every 7 years, that's the year of Jubilee. It's like a Sabbath for the land of Israel. That's when you let these people go free. So even if a brother owed you $100,000 or something for some reason, and out of 7 years you made back 60,000 or 50,000 from him working, you still gotta let him go after 7 years. You ain't gonna keep bleeding him out till he pays everything back. You know what I mean? Because that's your brother. So these servants in here are different, you know what I mean, than being a slave. That's why they use the word bondmen. But, okay, we can drop down. It says, for they are my servants which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. You can't sell the children of Israel as slaves in Israel. That's not going down. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear the Most High. You can't treat, they said the Egyptians ruled over us with rigor, beating us, working us over hours and all times of the day and not giving us enough to eat and all that stuff. We can't do that to our people. So this is another good precept. 44. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids which thou shalt have shall be of the heathen. Of the what? Of the heathen. Shall be of the what? Of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. That's another cut for that brother right there trying to talk about this Bible. You can have a slave from another nation, from a heathen, you know what I'm saying, from the men that are round about you. All right? And so there you go right there. Those are some cold ones right there, man.
God.
That's it right there, man. If you have a slave, it's gonna be of another nation. And this Bible is from Israel. So that little picture that's showing a white man be the black man is incorrect.
Right. And that's not how Esau was supposed to serve Jacob. So that's, you know what I mean?
Right.
They got the whole thing messed up.
And here it's showing you too, the words are key. For a servant, that means somebody working for you. And bondman means a bought person that's a slave. That's the word to say slave in the Bible in King James Version. Bondman or bondwoman.
Right.
So it's not even talking about, you know what I'm saying? All right.
Right. Okay. Most High Christ.
So Most High Christ, yep. All right, with that said, I'm going to close out the class. I'm one, I don't know if you have the security announcements on, you can read them. But if not, we Tawab. I need to get a copy of it for myself at the house. So lucky.
Let me see, hold on.
I can almost do it off the freestyle. So ISUPK started at 1 West, Harlem, New York. Any new brothers, sisters coming to the school, they're to be off limits for 6 months. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they're to be saluted only. If a brother or sister has any interest in a brother or sister, after 6 months, they're to go to the head and ask permission to speak. Another 6 months will happen And if they choose to get married, they'll ask permission from the head. Tithes, which is a commandment. It means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. You know, pay your tithes, and it will say priest offering, free will offering, not mandatory. Whatever you will want to give. Then what's next after that? If anybody wants to come to class, the teacher will arrange it. They need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. And lastly, if anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, black boots, black pants, black shirt, black headscarf. Right. I think that's pretty much it. That's kind of a rundown of that. So we'll just run with that. I'm one. Oh, and upcoming holy convocations. I know we're waiting to hear when the Passover will come. You can check the website to find out what we got coming up next. I'm not sure exactly what we have coming up. I think in September, is it not the Day of Atonement, it's one before that. But Salagi. You can check the website though. And we're waiting to see what happens with the Passover. So with that, we're gonna close out the class. I'm just gonna say Shalom Yabashim Ashab Brakathum to all the brothers and Shalom Shema Atham Bashim Ashab to all the sisters. Class dismissed.
Shalom, okay.